and grow on what's inside them. That's what I wrote.
Right.
This is Denny Lidke.
Right.
Big picture. I added that.
Right. That's a commentary. I like it.
I wrote yes next to this one. If individuals have different kinds of minds with varied strengths and interests and strategies, and could biology, math, and history be taught and assessed in a variety of ways? Howard Gardner.
So we got to have different kinds of tests.
You can learn it by going on the boat that you're talking about. What do I have here? Reward goes, I wrote this, rewards go a long way to the comment, if children are encouraged to make and do things and are praised for their accomplishments, they begin to demonstrate industry by being diligent, persevering at tasks until completed, and putting work before pleasure.
The t-shirt that Mavericks hands out after you've got your first credit. It's a black t-shirt. Give me a break. They're working for a shirt, but it works.
You get a number of kids who come in and register but then show up. So they don't get the t-shirt. But they don't pay for the t-shirt.
No.
But they gotta come up.
Right.
They gotta show up. They gotta earn a unit.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Works. Here's one what I questioned.
Oh,
Which
good.
is more powerful? I have a GPA of 3.99, or here is my portfolio. And what I wrote was, both are necessary.
Right. Here's a corollary. For the kid who's getting a 2.5 GPA, he has his 75-page autobiography that he's put together. And he's got 3 projects that he worked on through 5 internships. That's the Lidke model. Those kids are getting into Brown because they, even with that low GPA. Now, they're probably provisional. They're probably provisional entries.
That's okay.
But it's a door opener. So the portfolio method, the project-based learning, is a door opener for those who...
My conditional summer programs, they're all conditional.
Okay.
You get C pluses, you get in. You get C plus Cs, you don't get in.
Mm-hmm.
And I never overruled it.
Oh.
I have never overruled that.
Interesting.
Never.
If you have a C, you don't get in, but a C plus, you squeak in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I never, in all the years I've been here, I have never asked to overrule that, even though it's a little hard.
You might be a really qualified person, you think, but they haven't taken the time to demonstrate. Just getting up to a C plus with some effort, you can do it.
That's correct.
I mean, you're not asking for a B average.
The
You're
reason
asking
he's
for...
in that program is because we have a question. Notice that. We're giving him a chance. He wouldn't be admitted if we didn't have the conditional program. We created a conditional program. We laid down the rubric, which said, you're taking 2 courses, and you got to get at least a C plus
During that time, in that
at the
class.
end of that class.
So you may have had a poor performance before, but we're giving you a chance to do better than you've proven in the past.
That's correct. And you're taking 2 classes. So if you get a B and a C, that's a C plus.
Okay. But if they continue the performance of the past,
in most cases, they didn't do well on the LSAT, but they had demonstrated that through performance in the past, they've done much better than a C+. Some of these people have 3.5 averages.
but they didn't do well with the LSAT.
They
right?
freeze up when they take an exam like the LSATs.
So they've got a backdoor to get in. They can prove themselves.
That's correct. But if you don't have a C+, you don't come to me because I'm not overruling that rule that the school set up.
That's right. So flexibility and a standard goes together.
You got to live with what that says, because you make one exception,
It's no longer
and
a
you've
standard.
lost it. Because it'll permeate, and people will say, well, you let so-and-so. They can never say, Fischler said you can go in with that. And what's more, my colleagues in the law school know that. They know that. I may ask them to look carefully to someone who wants to come in the regular thing. But if they put them in a conditional program and the guy says yes or the gal says yes, that's it. I did what I could do.
Well, and I think that's fair. If the student can't buckle down and demonstrate under fire for 16 weeks, because it's
it's 8 weeks.
Oh, it's 8 weeks. Okay, so look, I mean,
June, July.
Someone who's got ADD maybe can't make it in an LSAT, high pressure test situation. But when if you can condition yourself to organize your life over 8 weeks, and
remember something, the Florida board, which he has to take at the end to teach, to practice law, is an exam somewhat like the LSAT under pressure.
Right.
So you gotta be able to take somebody in who has a fighting chance.
Right.
Because at the other end, they have to take these exams.
Right.
So all I'm looking for is the ability to spend the next 3 years being a lawyer. But by the time the 3 years are over, you're going to have to sit for that final Florida State board.
So you got 3 years to get over your phobia?
Whatever it is.
Right.
But this exam is much more content oriented.
Than the LSAT.
Than the LSAT.
Right. Okay. And so an institution does not do a student a favor by coddling them, by making exemptions that are unrealistic.
That's correct. That is correct. But you look at what the past history is for the student, and if you see the student has been doing well in school, you want to talk to somebody. Jose Perez is right here. He's now a doctor in Hialeah. I had to send him to New York to get into medical school. I couldn't get him in here. But this kid I knew, because he was sitting here all the time like Hillary does. I knew this kid. I didn't realize how little English his parents even knew. And he didn't come here till he was 17. So I knew this kid.
He's a practicing MD now?
Oh yeah, he passed everything. Oh yeah.
And he started off just by being a student assistant?
He started off by being a secretary to me. But he did very well in the classes. In all the science classes, he got A's. And when he took that exam, he only got 10s instead of 15s. I said to myself, something was wrong. And then I realized, and so I sat with him like I'm talking to you, only instead I wanted to know about him. And I found out that his parents, when he goes home, it's all Spanish, etc., even though he spoke English well. And what he was doing the work by putting in so much more time. But when he took the test, he didn't have time to do all that, shifting back and forth from English to Spanish and Spanish back to English. Didn't have time to do that.
He became a success because he made time a variable.
He made time available. He wanted to be a doctor. So once I knew that, it became my job to find a place for him.
So not only the institution can make time a variable, but even the student can make time the variable.
Has to.
Right.
Because that student's got to get an A.
Right.
Got to make time. He rented an apartment in New York, in Long Island, right near the medical school, in the basement. And that's how he lived for 2 years.
There were no distractions. He went from classes to study.
His girlfriend was here. He was there. And he took summer conditional that doctors were taking, foreign doctors took, in order to demonstrate that they could pass the exams. So that was his competition during the summer. Came out third highest in the group. And then he took his 2-year boards and passed them. And then he came back here.
Oh, and was able
For
to.
his third and fourth year.
So you didn't complete necessary in one place. The
third and
medical
fourth year
school down
was-
here.
Third and fourth year here was easy because that's rotations.
And so the medical school down here accepted him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just like they would accept any other student who wanted to transfer. Sure. Taught me a lesson. I hope it taught the school a lesson. Philadelphia said no. I knew the president. Our guys said no. I was the president.
But he worked through the conditional program.
Well, he came through,
Yeah.
not in New York. In New York, he went to the conditional program.
Right.
And then he stayed 2 years to get the first 2 years in New York.
And so institutions, if they have a conditional program, they need to have that C+C line.
I really can't answer that question in New York.
Okay.
I did not know. I knew they had a conditional program for foreign doctors.
But it works. You coddle the person just enough to test them.
Well, in New York, those doctors would stay through the year and then take the boards, the New York board. So in 1 year, it would prepare them to take the New York board. So it wasn't going through 4 years in medical school again. But they started the summer conditional with all that advantage, which he didn't have.
Right.
So it's a... This is a long quote,
Yeah.
and you got it in here called Imaginos. That's the name of Jack's company.
Right.
And I wrote, "This is Jack."
Which will drive people. One of the nice things about this quote book, it will drive people to look up these characters, learn more about them.
See if you could, in Google, get something on Jack Taub. Just for yourself. You'll see an interesting guy. He had the largest stamp store.
Do you want to do the Boyer quote?